Carl Jung, he said that the meaning of life, what he called the new myth for man, essentially was two things. He said the meaning of life is make all those unconscious things conscious and replace your projections with relationships. What does that mean? Majority of what we're experiencing here right now is unconscious. Right? I've created this reality. I wanted to be here. Right? And some of it consciously chose that, and a whole bunch of it unconsciously chose that. From the things that happened before I was here to the things that I don't even know about. Like a few years ago I had an experience, for example, where I said, I'm going to create me a partner. And at that time I still wanted to have a partner in my life, and I thought I needed one. And I said, I'm going to create a partner. Right? And I had a really specific notion in mind about the hair color and the eye color, and this was what they're going to look like. And I did this whole tantric ritual for a little while about it. And next thing I know is I met her. She was exactly what I wanted. Exact hair color, exact eye color, exact, everything. And all these things that my ex-wife had too, which I didn't like about my ex-wife. And I was like, oh shit. So I guess that this part was a conscious creation, this part was an unconscious creation. But I pulled this in, I made this happen. Because it's a pattern, it's repeating itself. Right? So most of what we do is unconscious. So, what's back? Hi there, thank you. So what Carl Jung said is our job is to make the unconscious conscious. And to keep looking at ourselves, keep looking at these patterns that come up and keep finding out why the hell is this happening. And replace projections with relationships. Most of the time when we look at somebody or something, we're just purely projecting. We're not experiencing it. Love is a very good example, especially in the Western world. There's that beautiful idea of romantic love, and based on Plato's Symposium, where he said that we get ripped into two pieces and now we have to find the other half. We are whole. Right? We're all men and women inside. We're completely whole ourselves. We don't need anybody to complete ourselves. It's nice to have people around us, right? But we don't need it. I mean, you think about falling in love, which is especially propagated in this world here. Falling in love is a process of projection. As soon as I see someone in that first moment, you're like, I'm in love with this person. I haven't even talked to them. I haven't even gotten, I have no idea what their name is. I don't know what they do. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their character is, but I love them because I just saw them. They're so gorgeous. I'm totally in love with them. What's happening right in that moment is you're projecting. You're actually putting your own inner other gender onto that person. Say, if I was a woman or man, I'd be like them. And that's why that's why they're my perfect partner. Right? But they're not. And then you start having this relationship, and everything is super happy at the beginning because you're in a state of love, and everything is great, and you don't see all these things that you don't like about them, and it's all fine. And then slowly but surely those projections wear down until you get to the point of looking at the person and saying, who the hell are you? And what are you doing in my life? You know what I mean? And a lot of partnerships get to that point, and then you can, at that point, you can either run away and go find a new projection, new person to project upon, and say, oh, they're going to be Mr. Perfect, or Mr. Right, or Mrs. Right, or however you want to call that. Right? Or you can say, oh, I'm going to have a relationship with this person. I don't know who they are. And now getting to know who they are, and we're on a path where I constantly want to find out, and I'm willing to do this and have this partnership and engage on some criteria that we both agree on this partnership. Again, what I wanted to talk about was projection versus relationship, not love. So get away from the projections. Start saying, yes, I am choosing to see it that way. I am, things like E prime help with that. Where you say, instead of saying this is, that is, say I'm perceiving it as that. This appears to me that way. I'm feeling this way about it. Will help you go in there. The thing is, I started the other chapter off with Paradise Lost and this idea of sin, right? And the sin of separation. As soon as I say I, there's an otherness. There's many others, actually. Everything else is other. Right? I'm completely alone. And in a way, that's humans' worst fear. We don't want to be alone. We're really afraid in the dark all by ourselves. Right? So we do things that make us feel better. Eric Fromm wrote a beautiful book about it called The Art of Loving. And he said there's typical ways of how people make themselves feel connected to this world as material possessions. If I have a lot of stuff and I feel like I'm extending myself a little bit beyond myself. Right? Or if conformity is another one. If I do what everybody else does, what my neighbor does, then I belong to the group. Or if I'm in this rock concert and I'm dancing with everybody because everybody's dancing, it's okay for me to dance too, right? So I'm part of this group now. I'm extending my ego beyond myself, right? I feel connected. Right? Another one is substances. Once I'm drunk, outside of those poor people who have some serious issues who get really aggressive, a lot of people, when they're drunk, they get, oh man, I love you, man, and the whole bar is your friend, and you want to buy them drinks because everybody's so nice, and you're totally connected, right? Another one is sex. Right? When you're with someone that you love, that partner of yours, in that moment of orgasm, you completely melt away, you're done, you're gone, you're happy, happy land. Problem with all of those? Every one of those is external of you. Right? Your material possessions can burn down in a fire. Your community, if you think about, for example, the Jews in 1930s Germany, when people said to them, "You're a Jew," they said, "No, no, no, I'm a German. Look at me, I'm a good German." And the neighbor said, "No, no, no, you're a Jew now, and you're going to have to die." Insane, of course, but it's a community. Your neighbor can suddenly decide that you're not part of the group because you're not cool for whatever reason. So you can't control that. Substances, they do run out. I don't know if anybody's ever seen a junkie or a smoker that doesn't have a cigarette. Not pretty. And I've been a smoker without a cigarette. It's not pretty. And then sex is the same thing. From my own experience, I know partners run away, and that's fine. That happens. You can't control them. You shouldn't, because love has nothing to do with possession. Has nothing to do with jealousy. Has nothing to do with those things. So if I have none of those, what can I do? What Erich Fromm suggests is the idea of active loving. And he's saying that love is not something we can give or take. Love is a state of being. If I'm choosing to connect with the world around me, nothing can hurt me, nothing can take that away from me. And some way you could think of even crucifixion as the lesson of the crucifixion ultimately being that, if Jesus actually did die on the cross and all that good stuff. In that very moment when he was hanging there, dying one of the most horrendous deaths that people know about at the time, hurting probably like hell, he was looking at those people and say, "Forgive them, because they don't know what they do." I'm choosing to love on them. I don't care that they're choosing to. Well, I kind of care because it hurts and it sucks, but I'm choosing not to care that they're doing this to me because I know they don't know better. I love on them. Right? So if you love, like Fromm suggests, then nothing can touch you, nothing can hurt you, and you're never alone. Religion, I've been looking forward to talking about this for some personal reasons, but religion, I put in quotation marks a lot because I think we completely miss the idea of what religion is all about to begin with. If you look at the Latin noun religio, it actually does mean religions and a whole long laundriness of meanings. It also means, superstition. It also means very neutrally belief system. If you look at the adverb religans, negligence, it's the opposite, right? It means paying attention to things, being very attentive, right? And then you have religare, right? It coming from ligare meaning to bind, to connect. So religare meaning you're connecting back to the source by paying attention to the environment, by looking at what's going on around you, by experiencing what's going on around you, by putting into characters, throwing up new models, coming up with crazy ideas, evaluating them and not being attached to any of them. That's how you keep going forward and you keep reconnecting. And as such, religion is highly individualistic. Every single one of us has a different religion, a religio. Every single one of us has different ways. Some people like to go jogging. Some people like to go pray to a divinity. Some people like to do yoga. Some people like to do drugs. Some people like to whatever. There's different ways. Every one of us has a very unique, very individualistic way that allows us specifically to connect to our higher self and ultimately to everything. Can't be organized. One of those big fallacies about religion is that they can be organized and there can be one that's right for everybody. It can never be the case because every single person has a different way, a different pattern through which they relate to the bigger self. It's a very personal responsibility because if nobody can do it for you and there can't be an organized thing, that means it's your job. You have to figure out how to connect to your source. And the thing is, it hurts if you don't. Because the problem is, it's always happening. Change is always happening. Right? The particles of a diamond in the center rotate at 800 meters per second. Nothing is stable, nothing is, everything is moving. Right? So if you move with it, right, then it's transformation. If you're willfully changing, you're looking at how you're changing, what's going on, then you have transformation, and it's not just change. And if you don't do that, as I said, oftentimes it does come back to you in horrible ways.